faltering with volunteers, they cut Children's Village a $40,000 check and said, start paying the volunteers. This place cannot fail. Pay them. And that's pretty humbling that a group of paid people with IAFF would do that and say, well, here, just pay volunteers because they want to keep it going. We're going to go in the area where it says Village. I asked him. Oh, Mike, I'm sorry. I need just Mike.
Mike. You got a camera?
Now, somebody, whoever's last, please pull that door shut.
Stand next to the phone thing.
The cars, when you take...
We're just getting a size comparison.
Listen up, guys.
When you take other NFA courses, and if you come here, like for the cell class, Mike and I had our class here last week. The chief officers and the executive fire officer curriculum for strategic or strategies for community risk reduction come here as well. And I absolutely hammer those chiefs about holding you and I to the fire as public educators, meaning that don't go to the boss unless you have a plan and you know what's wrong, where you are now, where you think you can get, and the benchmarks of how you're going to measure.
Gas station.
How much is gas here?
You do a tour, deer, they know you're here and they get curious, so they'll come up and look at you. If they're out today, but the wind's blowing, they just lay down and the wind's blowing.
Smart.
Yeah, we're out here. That's all.
We're out here, not smart.
You almost need people in the picture so you can get
Like a real
Oh,
Size.
size. Yeah.
Yeah.
scale or something.
You can stand up by the building. Get Mark to stand by the building.
Oh.
That guy just a minute.
Thank you.
I think you're talking, you'll come in. Always do.
Kind of like
Yeah, they just know they're safe.
They're in a zoo.
They would.
If you want the picture of this, you know, move out of the way.
What to do?
Stop, look. All right.
Contrast when you stop, drop, and roll versus when do you get low and go. And you have them do that in one area. Well, the point is with this, so it doesn't matter if they choose to sleep with the bedroom door open or closed, to teach them that if they don't have a smoke alarm in the bedroom, then that bedroom door needs to be open. We finally put one in the attic because they were just wearing us out. Obviously, don't have to have them in attics, but they were just wearing us out about that there was not a smoke alarm. You know, we teach them every level, and you know, you don't call on him. But that hand is still up. So we put one in the attic, and that took care of it. The smoke that we use, and let me back up. What we will do, my particular technique for doing it, most of the instructors do it this way, is they work either as a team of 2 or a team of 4, 3 or 4, and they are to figure out, they have someone sleeping in this room using the doors and the inside pathway, what is the safest and fastest way to get to the outdoor meeting place, obviously interior and out in front. Then we say, okay, let's figure the second way. There's smoke on the first floor. Which side of the house is safer and faster to go out of as a second way? Obviously the part with the roof and the escape ladder. And then the last piece we do is, what if you get to the door and it's hot? Well, most doors aren't going to be hot. Research proves that. So we say, look, test it, but you open it slightly. If there's a big cloud of smoke, what do? Close the door, and that's where we bring in the escape ladder as the very last means of escape, or staying at the window with the sheet or the towel to get attention call from the room, just what you teach at home. We had a very difficult time getting smoke to work in this house, and we started with Roscoe smoke and we ended with it. We tried dry ice, railroad smoke, what else? Dry ice, railroad smoke, there's something else. Even tried, the hazmat team tried to convince me that they could make a chemical chain reaction to make the smoke. That blew the plexiglass off the front. So we called, and that is a very true story, we called Walt Disney World, and the people there who do special effects said you need to go back to the Roscoe smoke machine, but put a fan up in the chimney and have it rheostatically controlled on speed, and that will, it won't be perfect, but it'll pull the smoke through the house. What I felt was very tough to work on or tough to master was the getting the right amount of smoke in the house. I'll bring just a little bit. We want to dispel the Hollywood myth that fire is all about explosions and fireballs. So we just bring a little bit of smoke in this room to kind of simulate, you know, look, this is what could happen if, let's say, the TV set catches on fire or someone leaves a cigarette unattended. And that really, I mean, that looks pretty real. I'll turn the fan off and then we'll demonstrate the worth of a closed door. Can fill the entire room up with smoke, and most of the smoke is not going to, the majority will not get outside of the room. If it's behaving itself the way it should, yeah, we're going to. And then you open it up to reinforce the point of why you need more than one way out. And that's where a series of fans come into play. You can see it pulling out, and in a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds, you see smoke up on the second floor. This is a very similar principle to the hazard houses that you can buy. But what we did, and we just didn't have the money to buy a $5,000 at the time hazard house. Our shift firefighters actually built this. They built it from scratch at the fire station on duty. And then after we tinkered with all the different smoke mediums and came out with the right thing, we moved it out here. The one thing we neglected to do was measure how big it was, and that's the only reason why the doors are beside length. We forgot to measure how we would get it in this building. So that's why we have double doors. We didn't need them by code, but here they are. This really drives home because they physically, you know, it's one thing to talk about, you know, what smoke looks like and what it does and why you should do this. But when they can physically see how using a door can be used as a shield and why, you know, if you let this go for a while, you'll get a really good line of demarcation where it's clear from here down and there's smoke from here up. That's physically what separates this from a school-based program, doing it in-house. We don't have all these props to take out to each school. They come here. And this has been a hugely successful investment of our time to have everybody coming to one place. You saw in the movie, or the video, that we had them actually crawling out these windows on command.
The camera people want to hurry up.
The lights on behind it. The light switches, just all of them up.
Cat's house. The house of cat.
This way?
Yes, it's in here.
And them trailers burning my place. Ain't nothing left.
I know. It's not strong, but you can still smell that.
Kids, they're not pretty good. careful with what you like, Chris.
Still got food down there. Look at that. That's crazy.
It's pretty incredible.
Right in here. Like that.
1,000.
This is amazing. This is an awesome.
Hey, get out the way. Let him take a picture of the temperature.
Okay.
I want to see the smoke level. I can tell that was definitely the
Got
level.
great signage up on the wall.
One room, and then have a residential sprinkler demonstrator to show, here's the worth of a sprinkler system. But this was, it's all about windows of opportunity. And we had one available to us. We had done a neighborhood tour. The property owner wanted to get rid of it. They said, why don't you take it and you could just burn it up. And that's when we thought, well, heck, we could take that thing apart and we can use it. We'll take it to the children's village and put it back together. And so we have about 10,000 people a year go through here. This fire was over in 6 minutes. I had this one. I was investigating on this fire. And it just, if you look out here, since you're at the PPEP course, I'm going to show you just in the kitchen.
Think the thing over.
People a year, we gotta tear it up.
Yeah.
The benefit of reality-based construction and credibility. I mean, this was the pan that started the fire. And we made sure our department has evolved through the years that they'll be in fighting a fire, literally, with their air packs on, and they're thinking ahead of, we get this thing knocked down, this would be a decent house to use for an interactive tour. But it's been an evolution to get the whole department thinking about prevention and mitigation. But they're very good about preserving the artifacts so that we can physically show people that sequence of events that, look, it comes out here, puts 39 cents worth of cooking oil in, turns it up on high, goes into the living room, gets distracted, falls asleep, comes out, doesn't get low, tries to spray the water on the fire. Grandfather comes out, we try to pick the pan up, walk it over toward the door, drops it. That's how we get the whole burn in the pool. The whole point being, when you're talking about presenting effective public education programs, education, true learning, is about connecting what a person knows to what you want them to know. And being able to bring all that sequence of things through and then help them, enlighten them by teaching them, look, at this point in the sequence, this mess could have all been prevented. But it's a lot more than just education. And you'll learn that when you come back to the academy in future years. This is the base of everything. Knowledge is the base of learning. But, would you agree with me? There is a subset of our population that just talking is not going to get it done.
Yeah.
I have spent 27 years. You taping me? Turn that off. I have spent 27 years